My name is Mohamed Tukajuf. I am the director of MCJSupport organization, which is the mentorship and community joint support organization of the Gambia. Equally, the project coordinator for the DSP project in the Gambia, which is a deaf support program that we piloted and work on at St. John's School for the Deaf at Canifing. So literally what we did with Canifing is to rehabilitate their computer lab, get them new computers, get them laptops, projectors, tables and chairs, which was supported by the US State Department. And equally, we built the capacity of the teachers on how to use those equipments that were supplied to the schools, as they were having issues with regards to delivery, lesson delivery in school, with regards to science and maths education. So we did that, and then equally, now they've been using the simulations now quite well. And these are simulations that we want to, roll out in all schools in the Gambia. We have started with few schools. We have done an assessment with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, and it is solely very, very, encouraged for us to use it, and it's well promoted in different schools. And now we are working on a particular, training curriculum whereby teachers are going to be built, their capacity is going to be built based on how to use the simulations around the country.
I want to thank you people for coming, for introducing this method onto us. Although it is not a new method, but it seems to be new to us as teachers, because we have not been playing with the keyboards, but now we have started playing with the keyboards with the kids. You see this, it has helped us a lot, because it also helped the students to engage more in classroom activities, particularly on maths and science. And also, it also eases our work as teachers. Before you go around, maybe you'll be going around to solve one at a time. You just saw the screen on the board, and then the students see everything, and they will also look onto the laptop or on the computer and see what is being done on the board.
With the help of PhET, I've been able to cover quite a number of topics within a short period of time, compared to those days when I would use maybe a month to explain a simple concept such as that of projectile motion. With the PhET simulation, it makes the students to interact with the materials directly, though it is a virtual lab, but it makes them explore a lot of things. They might have to use different values to see how those angle theta values relate to the distance covered, and this will just allow them to understand the concept better than me teaching just virtually like that without explaining or giving them the chance to interact with the machines. That is one achievement I've gained with the use of these PhET simulations. The other thing that I also notice is that students can explore. When you give them assignment, they don't need to sit and cram the formula or the derivation. They'll just get into their gadgets and insert the values that are given in the problem, and from those exploration they've done, they'll come up with the answer within a short period of time. And this has boosted their confidence and has made them to love physics more than whatever you can think of. At first, they thought physics was just something that we talk about and cannot be practicalized, but then with the introduction of PhET, this has changed their perceptions towards physics, and it has cleared most of these misconceptions that we normally teach them.
We know that learning chemistry is not easy because it cannot be done just in the abstract. And with PhET, as you know, that it can overcome some of the challenges that we have with teaching chemistry in high school. For instance, when you're teaching atoms, we know that students, before the invention of PhET in our teaching system, students have only been learning in the abstract. They've been hearing about electrons, protons, and neutrons, but they never come to experience this thing in a real life situation. In fact, I would say students were even unable to build an actual atom. But with PhET, virtually students can be able to see these subatomic particles that can enhance their understanding. You can use PhET to enhance student understanding, such as in isotopes. You can eliminate misconceptions of students having with different percentage abundances of different isotopes. In reality, students can be able to visualize these things virtually, but it will just be as if it is in a real life situation, and they can even learn about carbon dating and a lot of other situations in chemistry.
Okay, at first, when I interacted with those teachers at St. John's, I was like, they've been making their work so difficult in the sense that when you're dealing with disabled kids, you have to show them things that they can feel, see, and touch. But they were just talking verbally, and the kids were just there opening their mouths, looking at them, not even knowing or understanding what the teachers are trying to put across. But within a few days that I spent with those teachers, they made me believe that they can change the perception of those kids, because with the virtual lab, the kids will be allowed to come and interact with the materials directly or indirectly. And once that is done, I believe the kids will also have to understand the concepts easier, and then they can use it wherever they are without the help of the teacher.
We got the simulations from the University of Colorado in the United States, Colorado Springs, and I have the privilege to communicate with Carl Women when I sent him an email and showed our interest on what we want to use the simulations for. And the Gambia in particular, we have a lot of issues with regards to internet, so which means we need to have the offline version of the simulations. Altogether, simulations are about 130, ranging from physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics. So you realize at St. John's School for the Deaf, they do more of general science, electricity, and also mathematics. So the electricity aspect will come under general science, and we have particular simulations that cover those particular areas. So now, looking at some of the constraints that you might have in schools, with regards to computers or computer labs. If teachers do not have computers or laptops, or they do not have electricity in schools, it will be an issue for you to roll out some of these, programs. But with the help of the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, with MRC Holland, I have the privilege to visit a lot of schools in this country, almost, let's say, 70 to 80% of all schools in this country, especially the senior schools. And we realize they have computer labs, well-equipped computer labs, but what you realize, some of these computer labs are very, very underutilized, which means we need to build the capacity of the teachers on how to use the available resources in schools to teach concepts that are very critical for students to understand. And these concepts might range from different areas in different topics. Notwithstanding, we're just talking about science and mathematics, but there are certain technical areas that they teach that are very difficult for them to teach without the resources that have been provided.
With the introduction of this PhET simulation, it has made our work much easier than previously, because it has made it very easy to teach certain concepts in science which are very difficult to teach virtually in the classroom. Concepts like this concept called balancing act, as you may see here, it's very difficult sometimes in the real classroom situation, virtual classroom, to teach this topic. But with the first simulation, it made it easier because the students are seeing the simulation directly on the screen, and they have the opportunity to manipulate with it anyhow they want. And through that interaction, they get more better understanding than the explanation from the teacher alone, actually. And also, it has also minimized the time spent on teaching a certain topic. As before, a certain topic may take you 2 weeks, 3 weeks before you can complete it. But with the first simulation, it just takes you 2 lessons or 3 lessons to finish a particular topic and then move on to a different topic. So this way, the first simulation is very significant in the teaching of these subjects, science and mathematics, especially.
It also helps us a lot because before we have to use maybe 1 full month in explaining the fractions. The students find it more difficult. Even if you use all kinds of methods to teach them, they cannot understand. But with this, they feel it, touch it, and see. They learn easily and they never forget.
The simulations basically would go a long way in helping address the challenges that schools are faced with when it comes to conducting practical exercises. However, they are virtual. All the simulations are virtual. And so it helps in terms of alleviating the constraint of course, the availability of materials, physical materials to conduct certain practical exercises. So what it does is basically to avail teachers and students the opportunity of doing those practicals. And so you have all the parameters as well as the indicators that are relevant for every practical or for the practical exercise that a particular teacher may need to conduct. Aside from the ordinary normal students, it would also help a long way in the differently abled schools, especially people that have hearing.
That it helps students of knowledge, especially youngsters, in understanding different concepts using the practical perspective of all these simulations which we are basically giving.
So, from my experience in schools around the country, me being a Gambian and also had the opportunity to be in a public school when I was going to school, you realize there are certain concepts and that you do not understand fully because these things are taught very, very rarely, things that you might not actually relate to. So if students cannot relate to certain concepts, it becomes very difficult for them to understand. So when I first came across with the simulations, my mind clicked, which means it's only going to be so selfish of me to keep it to myself when other students that I know can benefit from. And this is not just for Gambia, this is something that we're trying to promote across Africa. So if you have other organizations out of Gambia that might be interested to use the simulations and know how we implement it in the Gambia, we are highly welcoming those things. Okay, so at the level of MCJ support, we're trying to make sure the capacity of the teachers are built with regards to using simulations, and also try to get them contents, which already the ministry has started, get them contents with regards to subject areas ranging from English, maths, chemistry, physics, and biology. So we also plan to go into a documentary series where we create documentaries for students and for them to relate some of the concepts that they are taught in class to and how it is applied in the real world. So the PhET simulation is not only implemented by the MCJ support group. We are in partnership with the ministry, and the ministry is taking it up. The first step that we took was to align the simulations to the curriculum, the existing curriculum. Try to align it to the existing curriculum as a supplementary material, and see how it can be inculcated in the curriculum smoothly. So as a supplementary material, the assessment is already done. So what is left now is to build the capacity of the teachers, and in the long run, try to do an evaluation and see how best it is improving education in this country. So getting them simulations and also getting them video contents and documentaries and other areas, contents that the students will need, will encourage more students to go into STEM areas. So US State Department as our main development partner, we are hoping that we are going to partner into more projects with regards to education in the Gambia and helping in the improvement of STEM education, most especially for the special needs schools around the country. So we thank you, the US State Department. We thank the PhET Interactive Simulations at the University of Colorado Springs in the US. And equally, we thank the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. We thank the St. John School for the Deaf, and we also thank the Salas family in Seattle, Susan, Christian, and Veep.